Alright, so what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper, and welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the zombie storyline What If. Now, if you guys are not familiar with this series on my channel, this is where we take an aspect of the zombie storyline, and we change it up a little bit, and then I'm able to take the reins with the story and take it where we want. And we get to just kind of have fun with it and go wherever it takes us. Now, if you guys do want to see the rest of the What If series, like all the other episodes, there will be a playlist in the description where you can check out every single other one that I've made if you're interested in that. And also, I need to mention this as well. If you guys want to have a topic talked about for this What If series, all you have to do is either leave a comment with your question about the zombie storyline, or you can go on Twitter and send me it on there. If you don't follow me on Twitter already, I highly recommend you do so, and the link to that will be down below in the description as well. So, with all that stuff out of the way, guys, today we're going to be talking about what if Russman had kept his memory from Broken Arrow. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, if you aren't familiar with the transit crew, basically Russman was this guy right here, and he doesn't remember a whole lot, and that's because he worked at Broken Arrow in this facility, and he ended up losing his memory and doesn't really remember anything about himself. The only thing he knows is his own first name, and he remembers zero of the work that was from his previous facility, Broken Arrow. So in this timeline that we have now, what if he didn't forget everything that he learned at Broken Arrow? What if when he meets up with the rest of the transit crew that he remembers everything he did at that previous facility and would know a lot more about what's going on? And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is where our story is going to begin today. So before we get into what the timeline, what would happen, what I think if, Russman did keep his memory from Broken Arrow, if you guys don't know what had happened and why he lost his memory in the first place, I'll go ahead and break that down really quickly. Now, we get a lot of information about Broken Arrow in the Call of Duty Zombies comics, which we're going to be referencing. In the game itself of Black Ops 2, we heard Broken Arrow referenced just a couple times in radios and quotes and things like that, but we didn't know hardly anything about it. It wasn't until really recently when we figured out that Broken Arrow was the facility and they revisit it and they see all the things that went down there, regarding tests on different creatures. This is where we think the denizens came from in transit, things like that. Even Sophia in Gerard Curvy mentions Broken Arrow and how that they figured out how to open up new worlds, which is really interesting in of itself. But that's a topic for a completely different video. Today, we're going to be just talking about what if, Russman had remembered everything that happened at Broken Arrow instead of having his memory wiped, probably due to 115. That does have that sort of effect. We can see, exposure to element 115 does, mess with your memory. So what if that didn't happen? He remembered literally everything that went down and all the research that had been going on over there in the first place. So we'll begin our story when the transit crew first meets, and when they're trying to figure out each other, who they are, where they came from, and basically the backstories of one another. In this timeline, Russman remembers everything about his past, including his own last name, where he came from, and where he's been all of this time. And this makes Stuhlinger not the head of the group anymore. If you guys didn't really know, or if you weren't really paying attention to how they interacted, Stuhlinger always had the most knowledge because he was the vessel to talk to Richtofen, and he had sort of like that higher power that was speaking to him. But now, since Russman knows what's going on within Broken Arrow, and that is definitely a big part of why, what's going on is happening with the zombies, this makes the importance that Stuhlinger feels like he has mean a lot less, because Russman is pretty much on the same level as him, and they already don't get along. They're always arguing within quotes, and there's always fighting and stuff, but this is only amplified because of Russman's newfound knowledge. While our crew's in Green Run, they would lean towards Russman more as a leader than Stuhlinger, because Stuhlinger right now sounds just like this very crazy conspiracy theorist. But on the other hand, Russman has solid facts, and he knows all of the insider information about Broken Arrow that none of them had either been to or even known about. So as you guys can probably guess, this causes a lot of tension between the two. It's basically a split that's still within a team. Russman has Marlton and Misty under his guidance, and Stuhlinger just kind of off by himself, and he doesn't really have any sphere of influence on them because Russman knows a lot more. He's telling them everything about regarding the denizens, what's going on, why there are zombies, and the voices that are in Stuhlinger's head. Russman knows a lot of this stuff.
Enough walking for today. We set up camp here. In case you boneheads have forgotten, the world is broken. Very broken. The dead walk the earth, and what remains of civilization is at the mercy of forces we barely understand.
When we met, you already had your lapdog in tow.
What do you mean, lapdog, huh? I'm the only one who knows what to do!
Don't talk stupid, Stu. All you know is whatever the German tells you to think.
So as you guys can tell, this would be a much more commanding Russman, and he would know exactly what's going on with Stuhlinger, why that Richthofen is talking to him, and I feel like in this timeline, he would listen to Maxis. Russman would listen to his instruction specifically to spite Stuhlinger, right? Like specifically just to get under his skin and go against what he's saying. Now Richthofen knows that Stuhlinger alone is not going to be able to convince the rest of the group to do his bidding, right? He still needs to get the pylons activated in his favor instead of Maxis, but he needs the entire team to be united under one front if that's going to happen. And with Russman knowing everything that he knows and going with Maxis, that is not going to happen. So basically what Richthofen needs to do is to get rid of Russman. Stuhlinger would let Russman walk ahead of the group and then try to shoot him in the back when he isn't looking. But he just barely misses his shots, and this sets the entire group on him and turns him, you know, and they find out that he is a traitor. Rather than killing Stuhlinger for his attempted betrayal of the entire group and Russman in particular, what they do is leave him alone and they abandon him in Green Room. And since Stuhlinger is pretty much no use by himself to Richthofen and there's no way that he could possibly turn on all the pylons without the help of the rest of the group, Richthofen ends up abandoning Stuhlinger as well, leaving him completely and utterly alone. This would mean that by default, all the pylons in Transit, Buried, and Die Rise would all be turned on in Maxis' favor, and he would have complete control of the ether. So I think that's what it would happen if Russman had the knowledge that he had, because he'd be much more of like a trustworthy, and he'd be more in a leadership role. And I do feel like the rest of the group, you know, Marlton and Misty would fall under Russman besides Stuhlinger. I don't know, that's just my opinion, and I hope you guys did enjoy my take on this and kind of enjoy the story where it goes. Honestly, like this could be open for a part 2 as well. You know, if Stuhlinger's alone and he has nothing else to do and nobody else, what would happen? You know, there might not be too much else that would be interesting to talk about, but I think it was cool to know that, like, or it'd be cool to kind of think about what would happen if the rest of the group had just completely abandoned Stuhlinger. So anyway, guys, I think that is going to be the video for today. I really do appreciate all the support on this series. You know, you guys always ask about this all the time, and if you do want your topic talked about in a video, like I always say, either leave it in a comment in this video in the comment section down below, or you guys can send me your question on Twitter. Either way, I would definitely see them, and if I feel like they can make a good story and I could talk about them, I would definitely put them in a future episode. I think next week's is going to be the Peter McCain Part 2 one. If you guys didn't see Part 1 of that, I highly recommend you go check that out, because that I think is going to be a very good story. But other than that, that's going to be pretty much it for today. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like on this video if you guys did enjoy this, or if you found this interesting and want to see more like this. And if you guys are new to the channel, if you have not already, make sure to subscribe. We're almost at that 20,000 subscriber mark, which is honestly pretty insane, and I seriously can't thank you guys enough for all the support that you show, not just on this series, but just on the channel in general and just to me. So thank you guys so much, by the way. But other than that, like I said, that is going to be it for today. Thank you everybody for watching again, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.